years, I've tried my best and done everything I can to better myself and learn from my mistakes.
A man responsible for the death of a state trooper begs for an early release and is denied. It's been nearly 34 years since Trooper Russell Bagshaw was ambushed and murdered in Windham. Your reporter Dylan Fearon was with the trooper's widow and twin brother today as they nervously awaited on word. Dylan.
Well, Stephanie, let's go back to 1991. Stephanie. This murder shook Connecticut to its core. Two brothers, Terry and Dwayne Johnson, were robbing a gun store. Trooper Bagshaw drove by, and before he could even get out of his cruiser, was shot 17 times and killed by Terry Johnson. He won't ever get out of prison, but his brother Dwayne, who didn't pull the trigger, laid out his case for why he should be released.
I was a stupid 18-year-old kid who didn't care or understand the actions of consequences when I first came to prison.
That 18-year-old is now 52, and Dwayne Johnson feels he's rehabilitated, ready to leave prison.
Russ is the victim, and he's been forgotten through all of this. Not today, never by me, or these people with me today.
The Bagshaw family still filled with pain, grief, heartache. Their lives changed forever nearly 34 years ago. Still wondering why their beloved Russell was killed, left to bleed out in his state police cruiser. He was just 28 years old. Russell and Carol were married for just 9 months before he was murdered.
This is our wedding album. Russ never saw this, wasn't ready before he was killed. He's never seen this.
Brothers Terry and Dwayne Johnson were breaking into cars in 1991, stealing radios, selling them for cash. With each crime, Dwayne says, it became easier to cross the line. On June 5th, 1991, the brothers were robbing a gun store in Windham. They decided if police showed up, they'd shoot. Trooper Bagshaw drove by and was killed by Terry Johnson. He's in prison for life, but Dwayne was sentenced to 60 years.
I froze. I was scared. I knew I was in big trouble. And my brother, he said he had to shoot. And I just stood there. All I could say was no, and just stood there and did nothing.
Dwayne didn't pull the trigger. He feels he's worked hard for 3 decades to become a better person, taking responsibility for his role that day.
My actions caused his death. If I stopped my brother, if I didn't get involved in the crime, he would be alive today.
The Bagshaws oppose early release. The parole board agreed this morning after hearing from both sides for nearly 3 hours.
It is my position here today that Mr. Johnson be denied discretionary parole.
Trooper Bagshaw's twin brother Robert recalls his son being born and an hour later hearing the news his brother was killed.
I can't possibly imagine a worse shift of heightened emotions.
And Russell's widow Carol bravely speaking to the parole board, imploring its members to never forget Trooper Bagshaw.
Inmate Johnson was so pivotal in the murder of my husband.
Although Dwayne Johnson was sentenced to 60 years in prison, the Department of Corrections says he will be released in February 2035. That'll be 44 years in prison. I'm your reporter, Dylan Fearon, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
All right, Dylan, thank you.